Hi guys, how are you? Welcome back to our online video classes for Gold Advanced. We were looking at brain waves and child development, and we're going to continue that theme by reading about somebody and their experiences at school. Okay, now here's a question for you. What can you remember about your first day at primary school, or maybe when you went to secondary school or even university? What can you remember about your first day in education, or maybe your first teacher? Personally, I can remember very little because I can remember my first school, but I don't remember the first day. I remember my first day at secondary school, high school. It was a change from quite a small school where there were only two classes with 30 kids, and suddenly I was in this enormous school where there were 12 groups per year, children who had come from all different schools, all different junior schools or primary schools into the secondary school. It was quite a traumatic thing to go through as a young child. I think made worse by the fact that I was on the border between two areas, and most of my friends from junior school went to a different school, so I suddenly found myself in an environment where other people all had friends, but I didn't. I don't really remember my first teacher, but I remember teachers that were very influential in my life, and I hope you do too. Well, here are some comments about things that people found difficult in primary school. So I'd like you to look at page 94 in your books, 94. Have a look at these 5 things that people found difficult. Did you find any of these things difficult in primary school? So we've got, it took me ages to be able to tell the time on an analog clock. We had to memorise loads of stuff. That was really hard. For me, no, I had quite a good memory in those days, not so good now. The clock I don't remember. I couldn't tie my shoelaces properly myself. I'm sure it took me time to learn, but I don't remember it being difficult. I don't know why, but I sometimes couldn't understand what I read or what the teacher explained to us. Again, I don't remember that being a problem. Maybe I was lucky with the teachers that I got. And finally, I hated reading aloud, like I'm doing now from the book, reading aloud. I used to hide behind my friends so the teacher wouldn't pick me. No, I don't think so. I was not a shy boy when I was at primary school. Later I became shyer, but not at primary school. But what about you? Were any of those difficult? Well, let's compare our experiences with the experiences of a woman who had learning difficulties while she was at primary school. Read the text here and the missing paragraphs, and just look first of all for, this is part 3, which of the difficulties here does she refer to? I recommend you read the text first and then the paragraphs. Which difficulties does she refer to? Pause the video, get your pens and papers to note everything down, and we'll check your answers. Okay? So, that's right, yes, she talks about how it took her a long time to be able to tell the time, and how sometimes she just didn't understand what she was reading or what the teacher was saying. That's right, so points 1 and 4 were really what she talked about. Now, let's move on to the task. It's a task we're familiar with. It's quite a difficult task very often. We have to complete the main text. Yeah, we have to choose the paragraph that goes into each space. Remember? So Remember, there are 6 paragraphs that have been removed from the text. We have the paragraphs in a different order, obviously, plus an extra, a distractor, which you don't need to use. Choose which paragraph completes which space in the text. Remember the first thing we've done, which is reading the text. When you get to do the task again, have a look at the sentence or two before the text, the space, the sentence or two after. Try and find one that connects it, and then check your answers for example, if it says something like, on the one hand, on the other hand, it's going to be talking about what? Maybe giving examples of how she was at school. Okay, this kind of thing. Okay, study vigils, it says in C, so that's going to refer something about her studying at a certain time before. Okay, so read through the text, complete, and then we'll check. Pause the video. Okay, a fascinating text, I think. How to rebuild your own brain. Perhaps something that we all need to do. Neuroplasticity. You know, we can mould our brain to a certain extent. Perhaps our experiences here are helping us. But enough about that. Let's consider this text. What do you think should be in number 1? B, that's right. It gives further evidence to the statement at the end. She didn't know what was wrong. On the one hand, she was brilliant, but on the other, she was a dolt. I didn't understand anything. I didn't know what was wrong. That's almost a paraphrase of she didn't know what was wrong. So you can look for paraphrases as well to help you. Okay. And it continues with that idea. After the space, in exams she got 100%, but when it involved reasoning she would fail dismally. So very strong links textually with things like examples on the one hand, on the other hand, and contextually. Number 2, F. That's right, F. Yeah. Okay, the breakthrough came when she was 26. Okay. We can also see somebody, his and he in the 3rd paragraph. Somebody was describing exactly what I experienced, refers back to the details in F when she talks about the book and what it described, the Russian soldier. Somebody was describing, the neuropsychologist was describing exactly what she experienced too. To F. 3, G, okay, 3G, volitive lodged in a part of the brain, okay. Okay, an area of my brain was not working, there's a link there as well. 3G, 4A, okay, 4A, she started devising exercises to develop parts which were not functioning. Then so it talks about how she's doing these operations, and it continues to talk about how this mental exhaustion she has from these things. Okay, 5, D, okay, and 6, getting down to the nuts of it, E. So many children get written off is a paraphrase of thousands of children. Thousands of children are dismissed as impossible to teach. Okay, so there we have it. 1B, 2F, 3G, 4A, 5D and 6E. I hope you did reasonably well on that. It's a fascinating text. As I said, maybe our experiences here are helping us look and adapt of different ways of working. Perhaps our experiences as a society and as individuals in this difficult time may help us rebuild not only our brains but our way of viewing things. Let's have that hope. Let's have a look at some of the vocabulary in that text. Okay, as I often say, reading is one of the best ways to learn vocabulary, and also you learn it in the context and you can see textual links, dependent prepositions. So don't think reading's just about completing tasks, it's about improving your range of vocabulary. Look at part 5. We need to complete the sentences with the correct form of the underlined words and phrases in the article. Okay, let's have a look at the underlined texts and see if we can complete them. Okay, so what do we have? So we have words like devised. Okay, my eyesight's going a bit, I can't really see them. Okay, devised, written off in part 6. I'm sure you'll find others, there could be 6 of them. Okay, devised, written off, and so on. Breakthrough, I think, is in there somewhere. Okay, right, well, look at those sentences, underline those words underlined, and complete the sentences in part 5. Okay, pause the video, and then we'll check. Okay, so number 1, yes, the government's attempts to deal with the problem of youth unemployment have been a dismal failure. Dismal failure. Okay, so the word dismal, like terrible, a very negative idea, very common connection. Good collocation there. Dismal failure means a complete failure. Number 2. Scientists have made a major, it's a word you probably met before, it's in paragraph F, major breakthrough, okay, a breakthrough, an important and key discovery that helps things advance. That's what we're hoping for at the moment, a breakthrough in the treatment of, or in the search for the vaccine for coronavirus. Number 3, she has devised a method. To devise, she has thought and developed a method for quicker communication. Devised. Number 4, I don't think that she got, there you go, got the joke. We often use the word get for many meanings. One thing is to mean I understand. Very often say, I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't get it. Okay? Number 5, the legal system rests on the premise. It's like the idea, the philosophy, that the central idea. We might talk about the premise of a film being the idea behind it, that a person is innocent. And number 6, the project was eventually written off. Okay, written off, cancelled, and decided as not working. Okay, it was eventually written off as a non-starter after over 6 months work. Okay, so we're going to stop there. There's a question in part 6. I'm going to send you an email and ask you to, I'm going to experiment myself. I'm going to see if I can try and understand how we use Flipgrid. Okay, and perhaps we can have a brief discussion about these 2 questions. Okay, something that you had difficulty learning. Think about that. Why do you think you experienced this difficulty? Okay. Were you a dismal failure at something, and then did you overcome it? Was there a breakthrough? Okay. Did you make a breakthrough? Okay. Was there something you just didn't get because you didn't understand the premise, but and you were written off, but eventually you were able to overcome it, or maybe not? Okay. Send back your Flipgrid videos if you can do them, and I'll listen and we'll share get ideas across the class. Okay, so there we go. We'll stop there for the moment, and I'll hopefully see you next week. Okay, so have a good weekend. Remember, this weekend is supposedly or the start of the peak. Let's hope it's the peak. We're not going to go any further up. So, especially important to stay inside, stay careful, and keep that social distancing. All right, take care, everybody. Goodbye.